Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya. You Americans, you British, you Italians, you Spaniards, you French, you gave China money, China used your money against you, and today this is the truth. But China did it and America kept quiet. Europe kept quiet, and today you people are crying. You want your cheap Mercedes, right? You want your cheap... Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. There's news from Germany and it's very interesting, and how European powers perceive the world and how they react to it. You know, Germany in its new national security document says that China is a growing national security threat for Germany, perhaps the primary national security threat. Germany also says that after the Russia-Ukraine war started off, they saw how China worked behind the scenes, influencing policy. They want to talk about terrorism, they want to talk about cyber terrorism. And when I say terrorism in China's context, it is China looking the other way or China doing cyber terrorism in case of trying to attack the digital infrastructure of Germany. And it talks about a lot of stuff. It's a really complicated document, detailed, etc. But here's the thing, and let me first read from the document so you're clear about what I'm saying. And it's very interesting, and I want you to stay with me here, ladies and gentlemen. This says that the strategy document describes Beijing as aggressively claiming supremacy in Asia and seeking to use its economic might to achieve political ends. No surprises there. Number one. Number two, the document highlights the main threats Germany perceives it faces, from climate change to supply chain disruptions, including a few policy specifics such as commitment to raising defense spending and creating an agency to fight cyber attacks, what I was calling cyber terrorism. All right. So this says cyber attacks. This also, according to this Reuters report, this underscores Berlin's shift in emphasis from economic interest to geopolitics following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now that is the background. Now, which are the four biggest brands of Germany? Or let us say German origin, 5 biggest brands. Can we talk about the 5 biggest brands? Okay. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Hugo Boss, Adidas. There are many more, but I'm just naming Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Hugo Boss and Adidas. Adidas, the famous sports brand. Everybody, who doesn't know Adidas? Now, what is the similarity? What is the common link? All these brands are made in China. So if Germany is afraid, and this is exactly what Dr. Jaishankar told the Germans and he told the Europeans, exactly this, 1.5 to 2 years back, when they were saying that India is fueling the Russia-Ukraine war by buying oil from Russia, Dr. Jaishankar said that how is it that my oil is fueling war in Ukraine, but your buying of gas is not fueling war in Ukraine? These were the exact sentiments of Dr. Jaishankar, and this is again and again, what Germany should consider. You have to economically decouple from China. Simply writing a policy document and saying, China is a threat. Of course China is a threat. Of course China is a... Who does not know China is a threat? We know China is a threat. What is India doing about it? We are doing Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are going all out. We are absolutely going all out. It will take time because far too long our economy was dependent upon imports, not just from China, but from the other countries. But now we are very seriously for the past few years saying Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, go for it. If you have the technology, like for example, the GE engines, we are signing the deal with the United States of America. We are saying, get the GE engines to India. We'll have the complete transfer of technology. We'll make them in India so that we become self-reliant. We don't have to rely on any European power or even the Russians. That is our stated aim. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what Germany is doing is, Germany needs to decouple from China. Simply crying and cribbing and complaining will not help Germany, right? Your 5 biggest brands, Mercedes. Who doesn't know Mercedes? BMW, Audi, Hugo Boss, Adidas. These are your 5 biggest brands. All of them come out of China now. If you were to remove these, first of all, I want to ask these countries and also some Indians who have invested in China, I want to ask this question to Indians also, but especially to the Americans and Europeans. You claim that you are the biggest supporters of human rights and democracy in this world. whenever something happens which you perceive is against human rights and democracy, your newspapers start wailing and ranting against that organization or that country, even if it's absolutely fake. BBC, that BBC documentary about Prime Minister Modi. Oh, Britain had so much to say about it. No, we defend BBC and the right of BBC to report, etc. The Americans were going crazy, and our left, our lunatic left in India was going absolutely crazy. But when it comes to China, our left is quiet. Our own left, I'm talking about the Indian left, they keep quiet. The Chinese left is a nationalistic left. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese left is a nationalistic left. The Chinese left, or which is China, the Communist Party of China, it controls the entire country. They say, teach your children about Confucius. Teach your children about your glorious past. But here, if you teach the children Bhagavad Gita, oh, Hindutva, oh, India is no longer a secular country, oh, everything is under threat. And they refuse to condemn the same China. I'm talking about Indian so-called Vampanthis, the left in India, right? The most dangerous people for our country, the most dangerous. Radical Islamists, they look like kids in front of these communists in terms of the long-term damage that they cause to the country. Now, coming back to Europe and America, you guys invest in China. You're deeply invested in China. Your supply chains are linked to China. You have no supply chain resilience at all because everything that the American consumer uses today comes from China, and therefore, so even a small thing happens in India, you will preach to India. You will say human rights are in danger in India. The minorities are in danger in India. Even if it's just a fight between two people. Washington Post and Chicago Tribune and the New York Times will have so many opinions to give. But China puts 1.5 million Uyghur Muslims in jail and you have nothing to say about it. Except for tepid editorials. Because they've invested in Hollywood. The Chinese have bought over half of Hollywood or more than half. They've bought into your media. They've bought into your real estate. Chinese own huge chunks of America. So when it suits you, then you speak a different tune. When it does not suit you, you speak a different tune. Similarly for Germany, I'm asking the Germans, why are you crying today? What is the reason for you weeping those copious tears? Why? You were the people, for money, you went to a regime, you went to a country that has the worst human rights records in the world. The worst. This one-child policy of China, where fetuses were taken out of pregnant women just because the Communist Party of China decided that, everybody will have only one child. This itself is a major human rights violation. How can you do that? But China did it, and America kept quiet. Europe kept quiet, and today you people are crying. You want your cheap Mercedes, right? You want your cheap Mercedes, you want your nice Adidas footwear, you want your Hugo Boss clothing, you want all of that, but it has to be made in China so that it's cheap. Why don't you economically decouple from China? Why don't you tell Mercedes that we are giving you 5 years, within 5 years we want all your factories out of China? Why don't you tell BMW, Hugo Boss, Audi, why don't you tell Adidas, no more factories in China. We are giving you these many years. We are giving you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. After that, we want you out of China. No business with China. Can you do that? No, you will not do that. You will write these stupid national security documents saying that China is a threat. Of course, China is a threat. And where did China become a threat from? China became a threat because you gave China money. It is you Germans, you Americans, you British, you Italians, you Spaniards, you French. You gave China money. China used your money against you, and today you're crying. This is the truth. In another news regarding China, they said China is expanding its electronic eavesdropping capabilities in Cuba, which Beijing has denied. China's evolving military surveillance network has somewhere to go to match and sweep and reach of the US and its allies, defense and intelligence analysts say. This is the Reuters report. But the fact of the matter is that, Cuba, how far is Cuba from Miami? Nothing. A boat ride away. And what the Russians were doing in the past in Cuba, the Chinese are doing today. China is the new Russia. China is aggressive. China has money. Why will China? I'm saying tomorrow, what is the United States of America going to do if China says that we are investing in Mexico? It's not just about surveillance. They have co-opted the core of America's soul, Hollywood, popular culture. They have done all of that. You never see a negative Chinese character in Hollywood movies. You'll never see a negative. You'll see Jackie Chan and so many other actors going and playing roles in Hollywood movies, okay, with American actors. And so many other Chinese actors doing it because China is funding it. Obviously, there is going to be no negative Chinese character. Yes, maybe a North Korean here and there. That's okay. But never a Chinese character because they're bought over. And Americans are selling out their country to the Chinese. And yet the Americans complain. Now, what is the latest complaint? That America is doing... America is afraid that China is going to do advanced electronic surveillance from Cuba. And why not? Cuba is an independent country. Cuba is communist. The Chinese are communist. Why will the Chinese not take advantage? What have you done for Cuba, Americans? Except threaten it every now and then. You tried to invade Cuba. I mean, what? What are you talking about? Of course the Chinese will be there. The Chinese will be there in Mexico. Investigate deeply and you will know that the Chinese are mixed up with Mexican drug cartels. Because the Mexican drug cartels know how to get drugs inside the United States of America. They do it on a daily basis because America, USA is the biggest drug market for the Mexican drug cartels. The Colombians. All of them are sending their drugs to the United States of America. Across the world, but mostly to the US. That's where the big dollars are. Don't you think the Chinese are involved? Don't you think they're using criminal enterprises and smuggling networks to expand their spying footprints inside the United States of America? Don't you think they're doing that already? Think about it. Too much of democracy, too much of thinking. You cannot counter China with too much of democracy and freedom of speech. You can't do it. You can't do it. And the Chinese will take advantage because in their culture, there is no freedom of speech. In China, there is no concept of freedom of speech. And throughout generations, the Chinese have grown up like that. They are an obedient people. Once in a while, there is a pressure cooker explosion like Tiananmen Square in China. But otherwise, largely the Chinese are a people that will just follow their leaders like sheep. They don't have that spark of independence. They don't have that. The Chinese will blindly follow their leaders. They're like sheep. So you're dealing with a nation of sheep led by a small bunch of dragons who will always be on the offensive. And, don't blame Cuba. Don't blame China. Blame yourself. What have you done for Cuba? What confidence building measures have you taken up with Cuba? Did you try to be friends with Cuba? Look at your own history. Even before the Cuban Missile Crisis. Even before that. Look at your history and then take it forward if you want to counter Chinese influence. I say again and again, with the German news also I said it and I'm saying it again today, if you wish to counter influence of the Chinese, you have to decouple very fast with the Chinese economy. You have to decouple very fast, otherwise the Chinese will simply take over America. They're buying thousands upon thousands of acres inside the United States of America. They're buying properties left, right and center. There are large tracts of America that are Chinese owned. Imagine. In another news from Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, the Shell company, famous Shell company, has sold more than 77%, I think it's 77.6% of its shares. And they're saying that it is no longer tenable to do business in Pakistan. All companies are shutting down. And there are a lot of Pakistanis who are saying, some are saying that, Allah, why have you done this? And Allah has not done anything, you have done it yourself. Okay. First of all, I want to ask Shell, what were you doing in Pakistan in the first place? I mean, why would a normal, sane, mentally healthy person want to go to Pakistan? What were you doing there in the first place? Or invest in Pakistan, so to say. You can go there if you like adventure sports. You can go to Pakistan if you're, if you like danger. That's all right. But why would you otherwise go to invest in Pakistan? Why? But Shell today, good that you're pulling out of Pakistan. It's very simple. Pakistanis are saying that, it is Shehbaz Sharif who's responsible. Some are saying, no, it is the army that is responsible. How is the army responsible? And let us say, even if the army is responsible, for example, let us say the army is responsible for Pakistan's state of affairs. It is you Pakistanis who put army on a pedestal and started saying that army is God. That is what you said. You worshipped at the feet of your army. You were happy under the boot of the military dictators that you spawned. And today you're blaming your own army. If you plant a cactus tree, don't expect to get apples out of that tree. It will only have thorns. You said, you created this entire bogey out of India. Or the Hindus will come and gobble us up. Or the India will come and invade. India is never coming to invade you. Why would we want to invade Pakistan in the first place? What is there in Pakistan? There's nothing. Except lies. except a whole bunch of lies, historical lies. There is nothing in Pakistan. You are in such a state not because Shehbaz Sharif is incompetent, which he is, by the way. And Imran Khan was equally incompetent, and so was Nawaz Sharif before that. But they had a huge benefit that America was in Afghanistan. That is the only benefit that Pakistan has ever had. Whenever America is in Afghanistan, you get tons and tons of dollars. Containers full of dollars come to Pakistan, and Pakistan is happy, and Pakistan says, oh, these are our foreign exchange reserves and our economy is doing well. What was your economy doing during Imran Khan's time, which you claim was far better than this? Which major technology did you export to the world? Please tell me. Pakistanis, I'd like you to answer this question. Which great supercomputer, which great software, which great artificial intelligence product? What did you make? You're making underwear, you're making vests, you're making towels. That's all you've ever made. You haven't made much of anything else in your life. And the reason why you're suffering today is because of nothing else except the fact that the Americans have left Afghanistan and they are not giving you dollars any longer. That's about it. This downfall started 2 months before, 15th of August, the Taliban entered Kabul. 2 months before that. May, June, July, it started. The Pakistani economy started dipping and people were screaming and hurling abuses at Imran Khan. They were saying that, they were making memes. Ghabrana nahi hai, don't be afraid. Famous Imran Khan meme. You guys were doing it. Why were you doing it? Because you knew that even Imran Khan, during his time, the ship was sinking. It was because of your army's stupidity that they threw out the Imran Khan government and gave Imran Khan a handle to beat the country with and beat the army with, which Imran Khan has done very effectively till now. Now it has stopped because they've thrashed the life out of Imran Khan. Imran Khan had no economic roadmap. Nawaz Sharif had no economic roadmap. Shehbaz Sharif has no economic roadmap. Even Muhammad Ali Jinnah had no national roadmap at all. There was no roadmap. Pakistan was Allah bharose. All on the wishes of Allah. That's it. There is no roadmap at all in Pakistan. So you saying that this particular Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is incompetent and Imran Khan was great, I'm sorry. Imran Khan was not great. It is just that America was in Afghanistan and Pakistan was getting dollars. Which is why it is only after the Americans left Kabul that Imran Khan started this entire procedure of abusing America. He spoke about Zehni Azadi, true freedom, freedom of the soul, freedom of the mind. He spoke this on the night of 15th of August. And he celebrated America's departure because he knew that there were no dollars coming from America any longer. And this is typical Pakistani characteristic, typical Lahori characteristic. Take money, but when the person doesn't give you money any longer, abuse him. This is exactly what Imran Khan did. And today your economy is in the doldrums because of that. So ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the main point, the main, part of our videos, the question and answer series that you love so much and you write to me about. So here it is. Harshita Nathawat. Hi, sir. Hello, Harshita ji. My question is, what do you think about the events taking place in Uttarakhand? About Muslims fleeing the town, even international media is covering this. Also, thank you so much for generating my interest in geopolitics. See, Muslims, I've heard of the story about Muslims fleeing the town, and I think it's unfortunate, that they should leave. This is their country as much as anybody's country. But about international media, they always have double standards. Hindus fled, entire colonies, entire bastis were evacuated in Meerut. This happened 3 years back. 3.5 years back, pre-COVID. In Meerut, district Meerut, there were many colonies where Hindus had to forcibly leave. Now this is happening in Uttarakhand. Both incidences we must condemn equally. This country is for Hindu, Muslim, Sikhs and Christians. Everybody is an equal partner. I'm not saying one bad balances out the other bad. No, not at all. Never will I say that. And I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that people must understand that one wrong has to be condemned as strongly as the other wrong. When Hindus were being thrown out of their homes in Meerut, this international media, so-called, never said a single word. Next question is, I don't know, AA Lincoln. I would just request you gentlemen to write your names because it becomes very difficult here to understand who's writing, Dear Major, considering that Pakistan is experiencing political turmoil, environmental havoc, rising terrorism, and a burgeoning economic crisis, many geopolitical commentators feel that the division of Pakistan into multiple states would be the next course for this nation. Do you think that this is a possible outcome? In this case, does it happen? If it happens, would it be strategically beneficial or a hindrance? Actually, I'll tell you what, this is slightly complicated, yeah. I don't think Pakistan is about to break anytime soon, okay? Let's be very honest. We might want it to. I don't think Pakistan is going to break anytime soon. It is not because of the capability of Pakistanis or their economy or their politics or their nuclear weapons that will not break. Pakistan is an artificially constructed state. All right? And it is being held together by powers. Even today in Pakistan, the fight that is happening is not between Imran Khan and General Asim Munir. It is between China and America. Pakistanis never owned their country. And when you don't own your country, somebody else owns your country. That's a fact. When you do not own your own country, somebody else will own it for you. And this is exactly what has happened to Pakistan ever since Pakistan came into being on the 14th of August 1947. Now, coming to your point, do you think this is a likely scenario? No, I don't think in the next decade or so, we are going to see the breakup of Pakistan. Unlikely. And here, I do not refer to Gilgit-Baltistan and POK because that is not a part of Pakistan. I expect POK and Gilgit-Baltistan to come back into the Indian fold. I'm talking about, not about POK and Gilgit-Baltistan, I'm talking about Pakistan. So let's make a clear segregation and separation there. Point number two, you say that, do you think it will be a beneficial scenario? See, I don't know. See, it's difficult. You want to handle one lunatic or you want to handle four, it's anybody's guess, yeah. You know, it's a nation which is full of, there are good people also, yeah, I keep on saying this. I know so many Pakistanis and I'm friends with them and I'm very fond of them, yeah, they're very good people. But a large majority of the Pakistanis are highly, highly radicalized. If you look at their statements, no, they're religiously radicalized to such a level that it's very difficult to talk logic with them. It's very difficult. So you can't have a conversation with a common Pakistani. Yet, there are Pakistanis who are geniuses. Yeah, they're great. They're fantastic. Some of them I really, really admire. I would like to emulate. Some of them are that good. But those people are very few in Pakistan. So I don't know. Yeah, this vast majority of people, if it breaks up, it could lead to a lot of problems. Maybe not. Mitul Zaveri. Gauravji, a question from my side for your next show. We are supplying weapons to Vietnam, Indonesia, and more in Southeast Asia. You're right. We should not rely on US to counter China. That we can do military exercises with the neighboring countries so that we have a Southeast, or you want to say South Asian version of NATO, where India can be the leader. No, I don't think we need, this is already actually in the works. People are already talking, you know. Our military people are going to Singapore, they're coming, we are supplying. So all this is already there. A loose alliance already exists. And you don't need a South Asian version of the NATO. That is not the requirement of the day. I'm telling you, we are looking at China militarily. You need to look at China economically. The more you look at China militarily, you're doing great disservice to India because it's like the Raman, no? Raman. You can keep on cutting his head off, another head will grow. It's only when you shoot Ravana in the navel that he will die. The navel of China is the economy. You don't need a South Asian NATO or even an Asian NATO. No. What you require is, a focus on how to dismantle the Chinese economy and their supply chains. That is the key. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press like. Keep on sending us your questions. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.